Hey, well, good morning. It's an awesome Monday morning. Mondays are awesome here in the Enagic realm. I am happy again to speak with my really good friend, Dr. Horst Filter, who is our med advisor. And this is a sharp guy who has taken the initiative on doing some research on Kangen water, has written a book, which we're going to talk about today. But Dr. Filter, good to see you. You're looking spiffy.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a nice weekend. Our max temperature was only 119 degrees, so I used the pool a lot.
Well, I could imagine you drank a lot of Kangen water over the weekend to stay hydrated because that sounds like it's pretty hot. Well, cool. We need to come up to date. I know that you have written this book, which was based on your preliminary research that you did over a couple of months ago. So if somebody's new and they're hearing about your book for the very first time, why don't you tell them what they can expect to read as far as the research?
Yes. The research involves putting Kangen water on a scientifically proven basis as far as its efficacy within the human body is concerned. Now, all kinds of assumptions have been made based on certain things like antioxidant activity in a test tube and so on. But we've never actually had hardcore, unassailable data from a scientific point of view about this type of efficacy. So what we've come up with so far is 3 studies on tissue culture, human tissue culture cells. In these tissue culture cells, we've been able to show that the water is an antioxidant, absolutely, that the water also has the ability to suppress the inflammatory response by decreasing neutrophil degranulation. It's an inflammatory response. It is reduced. And finally, that the engine of the cell, which is called the mitochondria, is upregulated. Its efficiency is improved in the presence of Kangen water and the substrate being glucose and other nutrients. So it helps us produce more ATP, which is the energy molecule for all of our muscular activities, etc. And then the most important test is one in which 13 human volunteers were stressed with an exercise challenge, an identical exercise challenge. In the first phase of the study, these individuals drank tap water, standard garden variety tap water from Klamath Falls, Oregon, actually pretty good tap water, pH 8.6. And during that time, they underwent the exercise challenge and they underwent the measurement of physiologic data, blood pressure, heart rate, etc. They underwent blood drawing for samples for further analysis. They had red cell counts, white cell counts. They also filled out a subjective questionnaire, which is approved by the American Psychological Society, on how they felt before, after, during, etc. And then that same group of 12 people, after a washout period of 2 weeks, for the same period of time, which was 3 weeks, drank Kangen water, 9.5, minimum of 3 liters a day. And the entire series of tests were repeated. The challenges were repeated, identical to the prior one. And what this showed was, one, the Kangen water group, or the Kangen water part of the study, resulted in an increased red blood cell count in the participants drinking the water, which was significant for the assumption that their oxygen carrying capacity was increased. The group also showed that the amount of inflammatory response in the form of neutrophil white cell production was reduced, and that their recovery period and sense of well-being was enhanced when compared to the standard water. Finally, we collected serum and plasma samples, specifically 60 samples from each participant, to be frozen in storage for further analysis. And this is now the part that we have not done, but I'm happy to say, make a little more detailed announcement about that, that we're now on the way to do an analysis of these samples for enzymes like superoxide dismutase and a variety of cytokines, which are part of intracellular messaging systems in the immune system, the inflammatory system, and so on, to see if the water differentiates itself from ordinary water. And from what I see so far, I'm absolutely certain that it will.
Okay, so that's upcoming.
Right.
Let me
because
I heard as far as what you're doing and what our distributors can kind of take away from this. First, it's huge because you're dealing with live people. We're not talking about rats anymore. These are humans. We're dealing with actual people. So that's a first, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm also hearing that it's all proactive in nature. So, for example, if my red blood cell intake or amount of red blood cells is increasing, I should be able to perform better, right?
Absolutely. If you look, for example, as long distance runners,
right,
Boston Marathon, the Kenyans always win. And I'll tell you why. Number one, they're thin, tall, and fast, but also they live at 10,000 plus meters height.
Right.
And as a result of that, they have a much larger hemoglobin and red cell mass than anybody who lives at sea level. And that's a huge factor. That's a huge factor in performance. That's what athletes try to do. Runners in particular, they try to build up their red blood cell mass for better performance.
Right. We hear about the athletes going into Colorado and training for weeks ahead of time just to increase. So now we've got a way to proactively influence our own health in a positive manner. We're not saying it's curing or fixing anything. As a matter of fact, we're saying it's empowering or accelerating what we're already made to do.
Yeah, it's a way of basically without chemicals, aniline dyes, sugar, fructose syrup and stuff like that. Sure. To enhance your performance without any side effects whatsoever. It's pretty
right. And I also like that you gave them the American Psychology Association's well-being test. That's kind of a carte blanche thing that's used in the field that I work in. That is great to hear. You said they had a general sense of just overall kind of euphoria or well-being.
Yeah. And of course, the argument could be made that, well, it's a subjective thing, but this is a well-studied test. And people have been working on that for a long time, and it is absolutely valid. It is a reproducible and working instrument, and that is scientifically validated.
Wow, that's awesome to hear. Now, I know that ongoing research is very, very important to you. This is not just a one-off. Of course, you publish your book. We expect more to come. This is available on your website, which you're going to share with us later, just for $10. So I know a lot of people have got their hands on this. Tell me what your opinion is of the ongoing research and where you see the next stages going.
Well, the next stages are going to be, as I mentioned, the enzyme analysis and cytokine analysis. And then also, once we have that all collated, the publication in peer-reviewed journals of our findings. I think that's going to be very important. I think that anytime you have a product, the more you find out about your product and the more that you can validate your product as being, in this case, an instrument of health and wellness, I think it can only not just be good for your bottom line, for the sales and so on, but also you show this in the light of what it is truly meant to be. An instrument that makes us well, an instrument that makes us healthy, and parenthetically, by virtue of embracing Mr. Oshiro's idea, also gives us financial and health. And I think that the more you can put this into a scientifically proven and unassailable publication or data, the better off you are over in the long run. And whenever you do research, it becomes a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. You start with one presumption, you start with one finding, and then it leads you to want to study other things. And maybe at some point we can actually study rheumatoid arthritis or some other illness in relationship to the water, and that it really does or does not do something. And I think when you do that, it's a good thing for the company. It's a good thing for consumers. Consumers know that they're not drinking junk. There are some things that are touted as energy drinks. Well, I would submit they should be looked at very carefully because some of the ingredients are not necessarily wholesome.
Right. Well, you've given us a lot more prestige. Tell us a little bit about this testing facility so everybody can know this isn't an Enagic facility. This is completely independent. They're vetted. They're good to go. Tell us about the place that's actually
the National Immune System Laboratory in Klamath Falls, Oregon. They have had wide, extensive experience in testing natural products of many different kinds, and they are particularly interested in the immune system and how it reacts to a variety of different products, let's say vitamins or minerals or whatever. And they are an accredited laboratory. Their reputation is stellar, and they would pass the test of any governmental supervisory agency as being completely competent in doing these studies.
Right. So we understand that over the past couple months, you have been involved. This is really spearheaded. This is your passion, your product. You've taken this under your belt. You've given a couple talks now on, especially this first book. What's your timeline? When do you think your next book will be published once, of course, the research gets done?
Well, I'm hoping that it will be in the early fall. I think we should have some additional ones. And I see this as an ongoing thing. I mean, I'm getting older, but on the other hand, I think I'll be around for a bit. And I would like to see, not a 32-page, but 150-page of just one fact after the other. And that's what I'm working for. Because Enagic is allowing me to sell these books, I want to make it clear I get nothing for that personally. It goes directly to the research. And so far, in the last 5 weeks, I've been able to deposit $5,000 in the account of the laboratory. We need more, but it's a start, and I've gotten very good reception from Enagic distributors all the way around the world, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we've heard really, really good feedback. I know you've made a couple of speeches here at our Torrance office that, number one, were packed. People were very interested. I know folks are starting to get the word out about your book, but it's really simple to buy, even for something as easy as $10. It alleviates the need to have to make up stories or have to say I think or it might or I've heard. Now we've got reputable sources. You're putting your name on this, and you're quoting sources in here that, the work's already been done. This isn't we think, we might, it could be. This is proven stuff. So we're happy to see you doing this. Any final words on, future dreams with the testing or where you're going to be speaking next?
Well, I have made an agreement with Charlie at the company and so on that I would give a talk once a month in different localities. And so far, for the rest of the year, there are 6 different states that I'll give a seminar in for the distributors there.
Well, that's amazing. So you're going to be in 6 different locations. Of course, we'll publish those both from Enagic's social media platforms, Enagic websites, things like that. Where's the next place you're going to be in?
I'm going to be in Torrance again on July 14th, and then to be announced Florida, Hawaii, Washington, New York State, Illinois, and South Carolina, I believe.
Awesome. So our Enagic distributors, people from around the globe and primarily around America, can look forward to seeing you in a closer location to them.
Yeah. I also do some things for distributors if they ask, like if they have a meeting with their constituents, like on a webinar. Sure. questions and stuff. And I'm going to be doing that in August for Malaysia and Singapore.
Awesome. Well, we're really glad you're on the team. I know there's a lot of people who want your ear. Your time is very precious, so everything you're doing for NAGIC is well appreciated. A man of your stature to be involved with our firm, we're massively happy you're on the team.
Well, thank you very much, Don. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. Well, people, stay on the lookout. For the time being, buy a couple copies of this. Don't just buy one. Buy a couple. You may want to leave it with somebody. It's going to be the best $10 you've ever spent, and I'm really looking forward to the next multiple editions, which I know Dr. Filzer is got planned for us. So just yet again, another difference of why NAGIC is above and beyond, why NAGIC is taking the lead in developing some awesome research into Kangen water. So we will look forward to future editions with Dr. Filzer. We're so happy he's on board. He's looking vibrant. He's even better looking now that he's drinking even more Kangen water. So we know he's going to continue to be that way. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you again, Dr. Filzer. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Don. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.